And that's, you have, so this is one, we call it negotiating track. This is one forum where all the parties to the convention, the climate convention of the UN, gather to discuss what could the overall framework, the overall architecture of a new agreement could be. It was set up in Bali 2007, and this working group has met in several occasions and is still meeting very, very regularly to try to prepare the positions to come up with an agreement in Copenhagen. So, referring to what I just said, there is Copenhagen COP15 in December, but you have almost monthly meetings taking place and gathering all the parties to the UNFCCC. That takes place in Bonn, because this is where the UNFCCC is set, but in Bangkok just starting next week, in Barcelona in 2 months, in Bonn in August, in Bonn in June, in Bonn in March. So you have really, over the year, it's an intense, ongoing, full-time negotiating process that is occurring. I mentioned just the architecture of the Copenhagen Agreement. There are a number of issues that will have to be addressed and that were defined in the Bali Action Plan, so in 2007. First, the parties must agree on a long-term vision. What is at stake? The global environment. So, global environment, as François mentioned before, 1 ton of CO2 is 1 ton of CO2, no matter where it is emitted and no matter when. So you need to have parties to the convention and parties to the agreement to agree on the main objectives, which is really to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 50, 60, 80% by the middle of the century, in order to prevent the dangerous aspects of climate change. Mitigation, how to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Adaptation, climate change is here and it will not get away, so we have to deal with it already. So how can we adapt? How can developed countries help the developing countries also finding the right ways to address those issues? Because often these developing countries are also the most vulnerable to climate change. And how to have a proper framework for the transfer of technology and finance between the different parties to the convention. As has already been mentioned, the EU position is that the developed countries should reduce emissions by between 20 to 40% by 2020 compared to 1990. And on the longer-term framework, we should transform our economies to become really low-carbon economies and find the right ways to do so. And this is the end of the presentation. Yeah, I'm sorry for. Thank you for your question.